If you are one of those people that often gets triggered, or you're often quite reactionary, so that could be a little bit of road rage, mild, aggressive, somebody says something, a friend, a family member, a random person, and it pisses you off, or your partner, or anybody that can just say something that just easily ruins your day, then this video is for you. And the reason I'd like to do this video is because I was that person where somebody could say something and I'd feel upset or I'd feel frustrated. And what's quite difficult about when you're living in that way, it just means emotionally it's a little bit like an emotional roller coaster. You're up, you're down, you're all over, but it's not you that's in control. It's everything outside of you. And actually, when that is the way, it takes away your own power. And so while I was going through this period of gaining back my power, my mantra was, no fucker is going to ruin my day. I will not give anyone my power. And at this point, I was working on acute mental health wards. You know, sometimes for staff, we're not the best with regards to empathetic and caring, and not that I thought so anyway, or wasn't my experience. So it was about also not allowing that to kind of affect me. Or anybody that's like, you know, when they cut you up on the road. And when I finally got to that place where I was in control, oh my gosh, I felt so powerful, but not as in like powerful over other people, but powerful over myself, and definitely living more balanced. Now you're asking, well, how the hell do I do it? The easiest thing to say, but can be actually difficult to do, is awareness. Awareness, I always feel, is half the battle. If you can have the awareness, oh my gosh, I'm starting to feel these sensations of like bubbling or anger or warmth or tension in my body, in my chest, whatever the emotion is that's starting to come up, recognize the feeling. Because if you can recognize that feeling before it then turns into an emotion of sadness or anger, whatever it is, then you can teach your system to take a breath and a pause. And just taking a breath and a pause tells your system to calm down. And that also gives you a moment to think and to think clearer, so that you can be more responsive and less reactive. But it's not necessarily for you, for the other person, for you to be more responsive for them. It's actually for you, so you can get off that emotional roller coaster. Now, if you imagine you are like this lake, and right deep down at the center of the lake is your core, is your soul, is your spirit, is your true essence. Okay? But every time something happens on the outside, any kind of storm, whether it's your children arguing, you're arguing with your spouse, your boss is upset, somebody's cut you off in traffic, somebody said something down the pub, somebody in the shop has been rude, whatever it is, imagine that these are like stones and storms and things dropping on the lake, but you don't allow it to get to your core. You don't allow it to affect you. And when you get to that place, life is just more balanced, and you will feel more at peace, because you are not allowing external factors and people to determine how you feel. You decide how you feel. You take that control of your life, and that, as I said, will enable you to feel powerful and happier and more balanced and more at peace. So just to say again, in case you missed it, the first step to help you to achieve that is when you feel those feelings arising inside of you, take a breath. Nice long one like that. And that will give you that pause. Okay. If you then have the next step of awareness, could be thinking of somebody that you look up to, or somebody who's quite happy and balanced. How would they respond in this situation? What might they think about this? And choose an interpretation that is less likely to trigger you. Okay? Because it will always be our interpretation of what somebody has done that actually triggers us. It's not them. It's not what they have done. Even if your partner's cheated on you, even if your boss has shouted at you, even if your friend has been disloyal to you, it is still not them that triggers you. It is your interpretation of what you think they've done, or how you interpret and feel how this is an attack, or, something that's gone against you. It's how you interpret it that actually triggers that upset. So as a very simple, mild example, if somebody cuts you off in traffic, or somebody speeds past you, okay, or something like that. So you can, this idiot, they're doing this on purpose, or they're not very thoughtful, or can you see how that would easily frustrate somebody? Whereas if you change the interpretation to maybe they're in an emergency, maybe they have to go and they've got somebody that's gone into hospital and they're rushing to see them, or they have to rush and go and pick up their child from school. Can you see how you change that interpretation, that it will lessen the blow of how that feels for you, and you are less likely to be triggered? If a friend is disloyal to you, you can take that as people are always disloyal to me, I'm not good enough, all that kind of stuff. Or you can change it to, the universe is helping me to align with my real tribe of friends and family, and this helps me to let go of who doesn't belong to be in my space. So can you see how you decide to interpret things? It will have how you decide to interpret events will be the decider on how that feels in your body. But first, as I said, you have to have the awareness when it's going on, while those feelings are arising, before you allow them to get to emotions that then trigger your response. You need to have that awareness to have that control of yourself. And as I said, when I was going through that, my mantra, I used to say it from waking, going to work, throughout the day, like literally throughout the day, no fucker is going to ruin my day. I give no one the power to ruin my day. And just saying that over and over and over again, it worked, I'm trying to think off the top of my head of when actually somebody really annoyed me. But I can't think right now. The last clear time I remember was 4 or 5 years ago, when I was reactionary. That's the last time I remember. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened. It's just the last time that I remember for now. But that is what happens when you do this work on yourself. Then you can have a life where it might just be more like this with your emotions, rather than this kind of emotional roller coaster of all these external factors ruining your time. So don't allow them to. You are in control. But make that choice. And when you make that choice, your subconscious will start to help you, and it will work with you. All right. So much love, so much blessings. Any tips that you think will help another viewer, please leave it. All right. Take care. Bye.